Why would I make you a mod? I don't know you. Why would I make you a mod? I mean, thanks for the follow. And no, I haven't caught anything. I just started like 5 minutes ago. I might have to slow down. I just had like one of the strongest cold snaps I've seen in 4 years. So I probably need to slow down. Then we have a week and a half, 2 weeks of of 60, 50, 60 degree weather. And we're in like the first week of it. I was hoping by now they'd be used to it and they'd be out feeding pre-spawn. Guess it is February 1st. Might have to slow it down. They might not want the jerk bait, which is crazy because this is like the winter cheat code. I might have to run a Nico rig. I got a little over 1,000, I think. Like 1140 something, level 1142, 1143. I mean, for someone like me, yeah, that's a lot, but in comparison to other channels out there, it's, I mean, minuscule. I think I used that word right. I mean, content is content. What I create's probably cringe to some people. And you know, looking at some of my old videos that I took down, they're pretty bad. You know, but I don't really have any editing equipment. I just cut out raw clips. And people seem to like it decently. Without any kind of commentary, just raw clips. We all make mistakes in our careers, whether it be YouTube or just life in general. We all do things that we might think is cool at one point and then find out that it's just stupid later in life. Right. You'll find somebody who finds your content appealing. And you never know, that person may be a sponsor. They may be a big name company who says, you know what, that's pretty cool. Well, Martin Luther King's dream kind of got killed. But, I mean, and the sad thing is that that only lasted for so long before I think we're moving backwards on that subject. Except it's not, you know, just blacks and whites. It's everybody. Everybody hates everybody for one reason or another. There's a fish. And that's the sad part about today's society. I do think fishing is very cool. I would love to do this for a living someday, but with where I live and the money that I have, the odds of that happening are futile. You know, that's the thing about America nowadays is, you know, it was the land of the dreams and now it's money. If you have money, you can do whatever you want, but you have to have money. I just got absolutely throttled right there. Well, I appreciate the viewership. You don't really get much from live streams, but it's entertainment. I want to say there's a pretty big fish right here in front of me. Got him again. I lost him. The way he kind of immediately started running kind of tells me that's pretty big. I don't exactly have this Nico rig set up right, so it's kind of hard to that is probably one of the realest things that I've seen in my comment section is the YouTube Shorts algorithm and live algorithm is not it. It wasn't bad when it first became a thing, and now like I don't watch YouTube Shorts. I watch Instagram Reels, and because I don't watch TikTok either, just because I don't like it. But yeah, that's a true statement. It's just the same thing. I've seen a few other anglers on the lives, but they're kind of like me. They don't really get much viewership. It doesn't make the algorithm money. Now, if I had like 150,000 followers, I was making money, and in turn was making YouTube money, then I would probably get better viewership. But that's not the case. So the algorithm really doesn't care. YouTube doesn't care. All about money. You notice how you can't skip all the ads anymore at once when you're watching a video? You can only skip one at a time. And how you have to watch, a certain percentage of that ad. I'm not even gonna ask what you did to get banned off Instagram because I watch people die on that app. Poor guy. Oh. I guess that makes sense. hooked. So weird. Pull this worm up over the shank. Ow. How do you even get hooked like this? These aren't salmon. I don't fish for salmon. There isn't a live salmon, probably within an 800-mile radius in every direction. Salmon couldn't survive here. It'd get too hot in the summer. Can't believe I'm breaking out the pliers for a single hook. Could have never done that with my fingers though. This is a largemouth bass. Similar to spotted bass, but they typically get bigger. I think they're the biggest like natural bass species. Because there's the striped bass and the hybrid bass, but those aren't actually bass. It's like a hybrid between, I forget, but it's a hybrid between a sunfish and some other species. I think that's the same fish that I've hooked like 4 times right here. It usually becomes kind of like, I wouldn't say not cool, because just being able to pull up to a pond that's, in my backyard and catch fish is pretty cool. But like, it kind of becomes normal after you catch so many. Like, when you first get into fishing, you don't really expect to catch anything, but after a while, you kind of expect to catch things, which isn't always a good thing. Which I wasn't really expecting to catch much after this last cold front. I thought it was going to be, dead. A sunfish is like, so like the smallmouth bass is actually in the sunfish family. It's not actually a bass, so to speak. But they fight way harder pound for pound than a largemouth would. So does the smallmouth. The smallmouth fights harder pound for pound than a largemouth would. But there's a lot of different species of bass, a lot more than you think. For the longest time I always thought it was just smallmouth, largemouth, and spotted. But there's also shoal bass, which only live in like certain areas of the nation, which is America. You won't catch a spotted bass in, actually, I take that back. There is a European country that has largemouth bass. Sweden had largemouth taken over, and they were introduced to a small pond there. I think there's only one pond. And then South Africa actually had largemouth brought over there. And then, of course, you should know about Japan if you're interested in the topic. I don't know what the Majora's or Majora's Mask is from Zelda. I don't know what that is. Canada. So there are smallmouth in Canada, a lot of smallmouth. There's also pike and a species called the muskellunge or the muskie. And the muskie was actually an invasive species that was introduced that is actually frowned upon by a lot of anglers, but there's also a lot of anglers that really like the muskie because they're so hard to catch. They're a very smart fish, and they're also known as the fish of 10,000 casts. It's not hard to get into. It's just when you try to take it seriously is when it starts to break your pocketbook. But honestly, I wouldn't waste your time with a spin cast. Start off with one of these. Spinning rod. They're like one of the most versatile rods and reels, and then once you get good enough, you can get a bait caster. But don't, unless you want to, don't start off with a super expensive bait caster, because you might decide that you don't want anything to do with it. Because there are some people that never stop using spinning rods. They'll use a spinning rod for everything. Me personally, that's not how I like to do it. I like to use spinning rods for my more finessey techniques and live bait and whatnot, and then I like to use a bait casting rod for about everything else. Whether it be Texas rig, you know, a weightless worm. Sometimes I'll use a spinning rod for a weightless worm. But like crankbaits, Texas rigs, big swim baits, Alabama rigs, all of the above. It's bait casting rods. Anything else? I'm trying to find a pattern, but I can't really find a pattern because I catch one over there, and then I come over here and I don't get touched. Wait, oh, that sounds incredibly wrong. I don't get bit. So I wonder if they're just right here on this structure. Because that's where I got bit. On the structure. Which that's usually where you'll find bass in the winters, on structure trying to stay warm. Because that structure holds heat. I want to say that looks like a fish. It's not. I might grab the Alabama rig and just see what happens. Or the Ned rig. If I can't catch one on Ned rig, then I'm just not going to catch them. How often do I move spots? Like move spots at a pond? Or like move from pond to pond? I don't really do a lot of pond hopping just because usually this time of year I don't have a lot of time to do that. 'Cause when I finally am able to get my rods and stuff together and get out to a spot, you know, there's only an hour or so of daylight. Usually that's about how long it takes to figure out a pond, is 30 minutes or so. But on a pond, usually, you know, if I don't know the pond, then I'll keep moving around until I find some consistency. But, you know, here, I've caught the fish in the same two spots every time I've came here, you know. Because because this is the deepest water, so this is where you find them. Now in the summer, I'd probably have to move around a lot more because, you know, they move more in the summer, spring and summer. But right now they're probably all together in the same spot, trying to hold heat. Might try to run this a little bit slower and see if I get hit then. I may go see if they're on that creek over there where that water's flowing in, because that might be where they're at. So it's not an uncommon spot to find them in the winters on an inflow point. So that's where all the freshest oxygen is. That's where the food comes from here, is that creek. And this really goes for any spot. That's just where the bass like to sit, or any predatory fish, or even not predatory. Honestly, name a fish that doesn't like an inflow. Smells like there's fire in there. I wonder if there's a fire southwest of me. Last year about this time of year is usually fire season where I live. Because it's when we get that dry southwest wind or northeast wind coming from the southwest. We usually get that for days at a time. We never get rain. Usually our rainy season starts about a month after April, which surprisingly enough, we've had a relatively wet winter, and we did get some rain not too long ago, but not a lot of rain. But we had thunderstorms in January, which never happens. It's not entirely unheard of in February here, but January I've never seen a thunderstorm happen in January. Now, not too far south and east of me, there's tornadoes this time of year, but it's not all too common. Now, the crazy thing about where I live is I could be standing here having a conversation and I could have a thunderstorm develop right on top of me in 5 minutes or less. Now, the odds of that actually happening are very slim because the conditions do not promote that. But I mean, I've seen it happen. I've watched a thunderstorm develop right on top of me, then dump a tornado 20 minutes later. There's a chance that they're YouTube moderators. need to sharpen the hooks on this crankbait. Last time I used this crankbait, they weren't actually hooking the fish. They were just getting caught in the gill plate, which wasn't entirely a bad thing because I didn't have pliers to take the hooks out. I'm gonna grab a swim jig. This crankbait's grabbing too much junk. Honestly, I haven't drank a lot of soda the past few months, but I'd have to definitely say Dr. Pepper, which, as for you being a Canadian, I'm genuinely surprised because when I went to like North Dakota, and I was about 50 miles from the border, you could not find Dr. Pepper anywhere. But as an Oklahoman, Dr. Pepper is everywhere. It is like our state drink. And I do love Dr. Pepper. It is delicious. But right now, like, the only soda I drink are Zeros, and they don't taste near as good. Like Coke Zero and Dr. Pepper Zero. And to me, they only taste good if they're borderline freezing cold, like becoming ice. Kind of cold. Like, that's the only time they're good to me. So I don't really drink a lot of sodas anymore. I don't know where BC is. I was in the part of North Dakota that, like, there was absolutely no life besides grass and turbo goats, aka antelopes, for 100 miles or so in every direction. I mean, there was just nothing there. There were no fishing opportunities, which kind of made me upset because that was the whole reason I was excited about going on the trip, even though that's not what we were going for. But we ended up shooting over to Montana and going through Yellowstone, and I ended up being there on opening day for trout season. But it's fly fishing only, and I'm not very good at fly fishing. I mean, I can do it, but I prefer a normal rod and reel. Then we made one last stop in Estes Park, Colorado, which, if you've been there, you'd understand when I say this. That Estes Park, Colorado has got to be one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. I love it there. The only thing I don't love about that place is all the people. And it's kind of become I hate to be political, but it's kind of become a liberal place. Oh, I know a couple of people who I play like Forza with from Newfoundland and Labrador. Nothing on this one, Jig. I started with Forza 4, and then I finally got Forza 5 a couple months ago. And I personally think that for the most part, Forza 5 is better, but there are a couple things that Forza 4 was just better at. Like the LS sounds. The way the LS sounds in Forza 5 compared to Forza 4, honestly, is kind of sad. And they proceeded to do the superchargers in the game dirty, because the superchargers are not it in that game. Let's try an Alabama rig. Maybe I can get one on this thing. Yeah, I definitely didn't start that early. I started playing Forza 4 towards the end of its days, on like one of the last playlists before, I started playing, I think 3 months before they took it off Game Pass. But I ended up buying the game and all the extensions, so I had that flex on people before it shut down. I think one of the most memorable things about Forza 4, though, was the menu song. Like one of the only songs that I would wait to press A to start on the menu. Like Horizon 5's menu song is alright, but it wasn't like Forza 4. Too grassy. Too much junk for the A-rig. But the way the Viper sounds in Forza 5 is considerably better than Forza 4. Because I personally think they did the Viper dirty in Forza 4. It sounds horrendously bad. And it also was kind of slow for a Viper. Like, I think the Viper should have been, a lot faster. And I honestly think that the 5th gen Viper ACR could be faster than Forza 5 too. Because, like, look at Calvo Motorsports and what they did with Vipers. And you would understand what I'm talking about. Here I got tied on a little, well, I say little, I got a 5-inch swim bait here, which, I mean, I think it's a little big for winter, but maybe this heat wave's got them turned on and they're just looking for a big meal. I really wish I didn't have the deep water one. I really wish I had the shallow water dangerous swim bait. This sinks too fast. Which I guess in the winter that isn't a terrible thing. Alright, well, later. Just got absolutely throttled. I think the swim bait's too big. They're not interested in it. It's too big for them. The water's not warm enough for big swim baits yet, which it is only February 1st. We did just get done having a pretty cold weather pattern. Now all of a sudden it's warm. So that water is pretty frigid. So I'm probably gonna go grab a jig, work the bottom a little bit, probably call it.